Sassy Eliot. Hey. Sassy Eliot. Girl.
The WIP Afternoon Show with Ike, Spike, and Fritz. The hit that has taken over the nation. Sassy Eliot joining us now as he does every Friday at 3 o'clock is Sassy Eliot Shorr-Parks. What's up, Eliot?
Man, I can't wait till the pregame show on Sunday when people just yell, girl, out from the crowd. It'll be fun.
Hey!
Yeah.
Now I want Eliot to do cameo and just people that pepper him with, I want you to do it sassy, though. Can you do the greeting sassy? So, Eliot,
Sure.
I'll ask you the same thing we started the show with. Confidence level, is it like for an Eagles win? I know you're completely objective, but very confident, pretty confident. Where are you?
I would say if, 10 is ultra confident, I'm probably at like a 6.5.
Wow.
I think they'll win the game. I think they're better than the 49ers, but it's been 18 weeks of this team constantly shooting themselves in the foot. So, I think they should be able to move the ball in the Niners. The Niners don't have a good defensive line. I also think the Niners are especially bad at the exact thing the Eagles need teams to be bad at, which is they have a bad first down defense and a bad second down defense. And if there's one thing that's really hurt the Eagles offense all year, is getting behind the sticks, not getting a productive first down, and then it messes everything up. They can't get into a hurry up. They, can't run the ball. Not that they run it well, but they can't run it. So, it's all set up to do it, but I've waited all year for this team to put together a complete game on offense. They didn't do it in Buffalo, so I think they win the game, but I would be pretty surprised if on Monday we're sitting here and it's like that was the team we thought they would be all season long.
Yeah, it sort of seems like even if they go to the Super Bowl, I don't know that we'll ever I don't know that we'll have a game where we say that. It just sort of seems like the way that this team wins games. I will agree with you on this. Generally, I think you overrate turnovers. I think for this particular team this year, it could be like a turnover for them could be catastrophic because everything's a one-score game, right? And I do think that part of the offense is built for how bad they are otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think their postseason run to me is going to come down to three things, like first down offense, turnovers, and penalties. If they can be good at those three things, I think the offense is good enough, and I think the defense is definitely good enough for them to win any of the games they might face, whether that be in the Super Bowl. I think at Chicago is the toughest game they would face. But if they take care of the ball in Chicago, if they don't commit dumb penalties, they can beat the Bears. But it's just those three things outside of the turnovers have really hurt them this year. So the good news is that Kyle Shanahan is 1-38 and when it's 7 points or less going into the fourth quarter. So, if they can just keep it close, they have a really good chance of winning. And that's why I do think they will. But, I think people setting themselves up to think they're going to look like a whole new team on Sunday is probably thinking a bit too much.
Yeah, and even
doesn't sound like you're as confident or more confident than last year.
That is an excellent point, Ike.
No, I would say I'm more confident than
sure, yeah, because you forgot. You forgot. Yep.
Yeah.
We don't forget. Yep.
More confident.
But what about the locker room yesterday and how happy they were?
That was encouraging to see. Now, the locker room today was a little more quiet. I don't know if they saw my tweet and decided not to show off again on how much they all get along. But no, it was definitely a more subdued locker room today. But yeah, yesterday was a great locker room.
So from a health standpoint, we know that Lane practiced yesterday. I guess the three that we would have questions about would be Lane Johnson, Nakobe Dean, and Drew Makuba. Where are they all at, respectively?
Yeah, so Andrew Makuba is not going to play again this season. I would be shocked if he took the field again. So I think he's, I would just consider Marcus Epps a starter at this point. And then in terms of Lane and Nakobe's definitely going to play. And Lane, I also think is 98%. I think with his injury, returning from practice, you do want to see how he recovers from each day of work. But the injury report will come out in an hour or so, and I think he'll probably just be listed as no injury designation. I think the only questionable player they'll have is Brett Toth, and that'll just be because he's not fully through the concussion protocol yet. So they should enter this game with all 22 starters and pretty much every key backup healthy.
There you go. Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah, I think I think we were talking to Costos or whoever it was. Maybe it was one of our callers. I think the decision to rest the starters, it ends up maybe it doesn't maybe it hurts them next week, but I do think it helps them this week, especially considering the opponent and how the 49ers had to play right down to the wire, and they end up playing the Niners instead of the Packers, and the Packers were rested last week. So I think it helps them this week. Might not help them next week, but it definitely helps them this week.
Yeah, so I agree. I think the Niners playing such a physical game last week and then also having to fly across country is a benefit. The kind of devil's advocate argument I would make for that is they are coming off playing a super intense game, and their level of play has been ratcheted up from that. The Eagles will have, had a week off, right? So I do think early on, like seeing how the Eagles respond to the start of the game, I'd assume the Niners, while they might be, banged up physically, I think that hurts them more later in the game. I could see a world where the Niners came out kind of firing on all cylinders coming off that game. So the Eagles early on, I do think, they'll have to, show up right away. Otherwise, they could find themselves behind.
Yeah, and I don't know why they wouldn't show up right away. They're at home.
Well,
they are rested. That's what they wanted. They should be pumped and ready to go Sunday. Getting off to a slow start and getting booed in the first quarter because you're going 3 and out again. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they want to do it, and I don't think that's the plan. But, I do think when you have a week off that there is elements of rust there, right? I mean, they didn't play last week. The offense in the second half against Buffalo wasn't great. So it's been a little bit
There's no rust.
Okay.
There's no rust.
Mean, you haven't played in a week. You see all the time in the playoffs, teams that have that bye come out slow out of the bye.
They don't even look that good when they're not rusty.
Well, first of all, nobody gave the Eagles a pass for only scoring 10 points in Green Bay after the bye week. No one said they're rusty.
No, I agree. I'm not saying
you're not getting no rust. No rust. No rust. You got rest. You got rest. You didn't play last week. We don't have the 2 seed. You better go out and put boots to ass this Sunday. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, grow up, Eliot.
I will say this, that I do think one advantage they'll have in terms of which head coach will have their team ready to play more. I do think Nick, just the toughness of this team to start the game, I do think will help because
there you go.
Again, coming into it. So I do think there's that, but rust is a real thing, and it wouldn't shock me if they came out rusty.
Last thing, Eliot, because we just assume it's a fair assumption with how well they've played that the defense is just going to do their job. Is there anything that the Niners do specifically that would give you any pause with the Eagles defense? Anything that they do that they can take advantage of with the Eagles?
So there would be 2 concerns, I think. One would be there's no real need for Quinyon in this game in the way that they don't have great receivers that line up on the outside. So I don't know if it's a huge advantage. Quinyon should shut down whoever it is, but you're kind of negating one of the Eagles' best players. So that would be one concern. But the real concern for me would be if they can get Nakobe isolated against McCaffrey. The Eagles do play zone, so it's not like he's going to be one-on-one. But there have been times this year where Nakobe has been caught going down the sideline with a running back. So I think that, Kittle, I think they'll have a plan in place for it, and they'll have a plan for McCaffrey. But if the Niners are able to isolate Nakobe on McCaffrey, that would be a concern of mine. But, outside of that, they throw the ball well, but the Eagles do have a good secondary, and I think a lot of that is through the running back, obviously McCaffrey and Kittle, and the Eagles have good linebackers. If you think back to 2023 when the Niners came in here, they absolutely torched the Eagles linebackers in that game. And I don't think it was the main reason they invested in the position, but they certainly have put a lot more resources into linebackers since that game. So it would just be the Nakobe McCaffrey one-on-one. But outside of that, I think if the Eagles defense doesn't bite into the eye candy and isn't out-schemed, they have more talent than the Niners offense.
Well, Eliot,
out-schemed?
Let's hope they...
Big Fangio, the master?
Come on, man.
Well, the Bears did it to him.
No, they didn't out-scheme him.
Yeah, they didn't out-scheme him.
That was just terrible play.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit of both. But
yeah, that was the worst the Eagles defenses looked from a tackling standpoint and intensity standpoint.
That's why you shouldn't play the day after Thanksgiving.
Here, Eliot,
not an excuse guy though. Yeah, not an excuse guy.
Here's the reason the Eagles got to win, because we need James to have to do podcasts every day next week too. So that's why the reason we need the Eagles to win. You can subscribe to the Go Birds podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Sassy Eliot, thank you as always.
Yeah.
Yep. Talk to you guys Sunday.
There he is, Sassy Eliot Shorr-Parks.